Yes, yes. Star Knives City Extra, yes, yes. Right, here we go. FP1. Hello and a big welcome to the channel. I'm the Motorsport Madman and this is Friday Practice 1 ahead of the 2022 Dutch Grand Prix. It is round 15 in the 2022 World Championship and Max Verstappen's walking away with it and he's at home this weekend. Can anybody stop him? We're going to find out. But yeah, before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, if you are a Formula 1 fan, then please do get yourself subscribed because I'm live for every single qualifying and every single Grand Prix from the Formula 1 World Championship, as well as practice sessions, preview shows, news updates. We even do some Formula 1 game as well from time to time. But yeah, welcome in. Practice starts at 11:30, so just do a little 25 minute little preview thing, go through the teams from back of the grid to front of the grid in Constructors' Championship order and just look at their results this season, look who's looking strong, who's not, you know, and see the form book before we get into FP1 in 25 minutes or so. But anyway, before we get into it, this is the schedule for this weekend. So obviously I'm on right now 11 p.m. for a little bit of a 11 a.m. for a little bit of a preview and practice 1. Then I'll be back at 10 to 3, well 5 to 3 for practice 2. That's today, so 2 streams today for both practice sessions. Then be back for qualifying tomorrow afternoon. That starts at 2 p.m. and be live at 10 to 2 for qualifying. And then for the Grand Prix, that starts at 2 p.m. I'll be live at 1:30, just to give people a chance to find the stream, because before I was going live like 5 minutes before the race start and nobody was seeing the start, you know, and that's the main bit. No one's watching the start with us. So if I go live half an hour before, maybe gives people and YouTube chance to put me on the list and people to find the stream before lights out, you know. So that's the theory. I can waffle on for half an hour before the race starts in it on a Sunday, so we'll be doing all right there. Hopefully we'll get a few more in on the Sunday for the Grand Prix. But as of right now, got a little bit of a preview and then we'll jump into FP1. But welcome in Ernesto, Chris Poundcoin Tax. How are we doing, boys? Welcome to the stream. And yeah, let's do a little bit of a rundown then. So here we go then. If you've not seen the little preview that I do before, I used to do a full preview show, but it just ain't worth it. The only views that got was me watching it back myself. So what I do now is just do a condensed down version of the preview show, what I used to do, condensed down and just tag it onto the front of FP1, so we can just do a little bit of a 20-minute preview and then boom, straight into a live session. So yeah, this is what we do. Little bit of a rundown from, like I say, from 10th in Constructors' Championship all the way to the front, and just look, you know, I've got the 2 teammates either side and then all their results up to now. So obviously we've got 14 results there now. And yeah, so obviously unfortunately first up on the list is Williams, 10th in Constructors' Championship, 4 points, and Alexander Albon scoring all 4 points. The latest of which was last weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix. What a drive from Alexander Albon. And he's having a great season, really. You know, considering the car he's got, he's getting all he can. When there's a chance of a point, he's getting it. You know, he had, what did he get? A point in Australia with a great strategy. I think he stayed out right till the end of the race and pitted right near the end. It was some crazy long stint that he did. Gets a point in Australia, 2 points in Miami, you know, so, you know, it's a great 9th place. And then, again, a point last weekend at the Belgian Grand Prix. So, let me just sort that But yeah, Alexander Albon having a great season, and obviously got his contract as well for Williams for next year, so he's sort of secure for the first time in his career as well, Alex, and he deserves it. You know, when you're in that Red Bull Junior program, you get pushed, pillar to post. You're promoted, you're demoted, then you're on the sidelines. He's been through the rigmarole as Alex Albon, but it's good to see he's got some stability in his career now, and he'll probably stay at Williams a couple more years and then look to move on. If his results keep up. But yeah, Alexander Albon doing very well. Unfortunately for Nicholas Latifi. In fact, I think I saw an article this morning saying about Latifi sort of knows that he's got to improve in these last 8 races to keep his seat. He knows that Williams have set him out a target and he's got to hit that to keep his seat for next year, and that's understandable. I mean, looking at his results there, you look at the last 5 results. That's what I tend to sort of look at rather than going through all 14. But if you look at the last 5 or 6, you from, let's say, Canada onwards, 16th, 12th. DNF. I mean, the back-to-back DNFs at Austria and France. I mean, I'd be lying if I could remember why. Is it technical? Is it a mistake he's made? I'd be lying if I told you I remembered why. But back-to-back DNFs in Austria and France isn't great. And then coming off the back of that with 2 18th place finishes as well, which is virtually last. I think in Hungary 2 DNFs, Belgium 2 DNFs. So it's not great reading, is it, for Mr. Gotifi? But you never know. He could pull. So he's had a few moments this season. Ironically, he was quickest in one of the practice sessions. I think in Hungary, or there was some mad one where he was quickest, and he's been quick on a couple of occasions this season where you go, oh, he's up there. But then it always seems to fade off, or But yeah, what's his highest? So his highest finishing position, Latifi, is 12th, isn't it, in the British Grand Prix? Yeah, so Latifi does sit last in the championship. Only driver now with no points. Everyone else is off the mark. And Alexander Albon on 4 points and gives Williams all 4 points. But yeah, they are sat in 10th. Let's now go to 9th place, Aston Martin. I think it's between the Aston and AlphaTauri for the biggest drop-off between last season and this, to be honest with you. It's not been a good year for Aston Martin, this, at all. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work that out. They were mid-pack, they were a solid midfield outfit last season. I think Vettel might have scraped a podium or 2 last season. But this year, no. It's been a bit up and down as well for Aston Martin. Let's look at the results that they've got. Sebastian Vettel's had a few outstanding drives, to be fair. I mean, the 6th place in Azerbaijan is unbelievable. And 8th in Imola is not bad. Couple of points. They tend to pick up a penguin. They tend to pick up a couple of points here and there. Look at Lance Stroll. He's always on the edge of the points. Look at Lance Stroll's results from Canada onwards. 10th, 11th, 13th, 10th, 11th, 11th. He's there or thereabouts. It's like if they get a perfect weekend together, a perfect strategy, a perfect pit stop, and everything works out right, they can nick a P10 or a P9. Vettel's doing very well, actually. I feel like he's got more to give. He's announced his retirement. This is his final year. This is Sebastian Vettel's final 8 races now, and there's something in the back of my head thinking he's still got more to give. Look at Vettel's last 6 results. 12th, 9th, 17th in Austria is not great. But look at the last 3: France 11th, Hungary 10th, Belgium 8th. He's getting the odd point here and there, getting the most out of the car. Obviously, Aston Martin will be looking to 2023 now. I doubt they'll bring any more upgrades to this car. They'll be fully on the Fernando Alonso 2023 bandwagon now. Obviously, they've promised Alonso some kind of gains, because Fernando Alonso surely won't go from fourth placed Alpine to ninth placed Aston Martin for nothing. So yeah, they'll be fully focused on next year now. Aston Martin, a disappointing season. They ain't going to get any podiums. Yeah, nah. They wouldn't have been coming into this season thinking they're going to get ninth. No chance. I remember when I saw that this car unveiled in like February, I was thinking, this looks good, this. And it looks a nice car. And they went for a different concept. I remember there was a lot of hype because they'd gone for this high nose concept where they're getting the air under the car, into the floor. And I was thinking, this looks a good car, this. Nope. It's been a bit of a mess from Aston Martin, but they'll be focused on next year, like I say, and I reckon they'll be, they'll be, put it this way, they'll be a lot more improved. I think Lawrence Stroll and the board that owns it are gonna pump a lot of money into this. I think they're gonna look at these results this year and say, right, no repeat of 2022 in 2023. They'll be demanding big improvements for next year. But yeah, that's Aston Martin, probably the biggest fall off between last year and this. Stroll with 4 points, Vettel with 20, leaves him in ninth place in constructors on 24 points, just behind AlphaTauri in 8th. Another team that's really struggled this season compared to last. Obviously, Pierre Gasly getting top 8s, top 6s virtually every week last season. He's now got to settle for the odd point here and there, luckily with Pierre Gasly's P9 in Belgium, they're finally back in the points, because it was working out last time. Well, it doesn't take a lot of working out, especially when I'm keeping track of the results. But I was looking at the results last weekend going, hang on, they've not scored any points since Azerbaijan. So, that's like 7 or 8 races where they hadn't scored. Well, 6 or 7 where they hadn't scored. But Pierre Gasly back in the points in Belgium, a nice P9. And from the pit lane as well. I think it was Pierre Gasly's 100th Grand Prix. He started from the pit lane and brought home P9. So a great drive from Gasly. And will he be the man to replace Fernando Alonso at Alpine? I just wonder. I did a video on it the other day. I just wonder if Alpine will buy Pierre Gasly out of his AlphaTauri contract, because if you don't know, Gasly's already signed up for AlphaTauri for 2023. He come out and announced that like 3 months ago. He signed up too soon in a way. But will Alpine come in and pay the big money and get him out of that? And I think they should. I think that's the best option for Alpine. I think Pierre Gasly deserves the move. Like I was saying the other day, he deserves a move now, Pierre Gasly. He's been stuck in this team, and time moves on. He's no longer 21. He's probably about 26, 27. I hope he gets the Alpine seat. But we'll see. We'll see on that. Maybe Ricciardo goes back there and they rekindle that marriage, but I don't know. I think it'd be a bigger statement for them to go for Pierre Gasly. But yeah, team struggling is AlphaTauri. They get the odd point here and there, but Yuki Tsunoda really needs to pick it up, I think. I feel like Yuki Tsunoda, he's not really had a great season. Imola aside, he had a great race in Imola, that P7 finish, but I mean the results since then, look at that, 12, a point in Spain, but other than that, since Spain, it's been pretty grim for Yuki Tsunoda. 17-13, DNF 14-16, DNF 19-30. I mean, I hope Yuki Tsunoda picks it up in these last 8 races. Is he under pressure? I mean, I don't think he's confirmed for next year. I think they want to continue with Yuki Tsunoda. I get the idea that there's not that much. You don't hear a lot of rumour that he's going to be dropped or that AlphaTauri are looking elsewhere. I feel like they want to keep Yuki Tsunoda, but he's not really helping himself at the minute. He's, it gets to a point now where you're more than 18 months into your Formula One career where it's like, let's get going, where's the consistency, where's the, come on, let's see some magic, because that's what it's all about. If you want to be in Formula One, want to be regarded as one of the best drivers in the world, you've got to show a bit of magic. And Yuki Tsunoda just not quite, I'm trying to think of moments where I've gone, wow, Yuki Tsunoda, what a move, or I'm trying to think of moments like that. It's not, it's not really there. Sky just showing footage of Jenson Button driving an old Hesketh 308B. What a beast. This is like a flipping James Hunt's car from like 1974 or something like that. Jeez. What a flipping raw beast that is. But anyway, I've been distracted by this Hesketh. I don't know what year that is, but I'd guess like a 74 or something like that. But anyway, yeah, so AlphaTauri only on 29 points in 8th position. They're not doing great. Haas in 7th, 34 points. And it's sort of fallen off for them. They had an amazing race at the British Grand Prix in Austria. Look at those back-to-back races for both cars. Magnussen was 10th and 8th in those races. Mick Schumacher was 8th and 6th in those races. But is it a flash in the pan? Is Silverstone and Austria a flash in the pan? And now we're back to normality with 15th, 14th, 17th for Mick. And DNF 16th, 16th for Kevin. He's like, oh, come on, boys. Yeah, and for my boy Mick as well, anyone who doesn't know, I'm a big Mick Schumacher fan. And I'm really hoping that he can get a few more points before the end of the season, or get a few more points now. Like, he's had those couple of standout performances, but we need one or two, three more standout results. And get on the phone to Alpine, and you never know. You never know. In fact, Esteban Ocon said in an interview, didn't he, the other day, said in an interview that his preferred teammate is Mick Schumacher. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. I don't think it'll happen. I think, it's more than likely either going to be Ricciardo or Gasly in that Alpine seat. But if it's Mick Schumacher, like Ocon said, I think Mick could step it up if he got the chance. I think Mick would look at it and go, right, now my career starts. Like, if he got the Alpine seat, he'd be like, right, we've got our feet under the desk here. We're into Formula One. We've got the hang of it. We know the situation. 2 years of warm up, and then bang, he gets the Alpine seat, and then he'd be like, bang, now my career starts. I feel like he'd step it up, but I don't know if Alpine would take that risk, really. But having said that, I think it's a bit of a risk to take Daniel Ricciardo at the moment. The slump he's in, it's nothing guaranteed if you take Daniel Ricciardo, in my opinion. So I don't know. Do Alpine take the risk? Maybe AlphaTauri say, get off Pierre Gasly, you ain't having him, for no amount of money. Because AlphaTauri ain't going to want to let Gasly go. He's their main man, star man. You got Tsunoda struggling in the other car. Are they going to want Pierre Gasly to be taken away from them? No, they're not. So we'll see. Maybe if all the stars align, Mick will get the Alpine seat. You never know. But yeah, they need to get back in the points. Alfa Romeo, 6th on 51. See, this is another team that's really fallen off. The first half of the season, we're on it. Valtteri Bottas, like, getting top 7s and top 8s regularly in the first half of the season. And then if you look since Canada, look at Bottas, DNF 11th, 14th. Bottas had 3 DNFs in the last 5 races. Obviously, a couple of them through no fault of his own, especially in Belgium, being spun round. He was just clipped, wasn't he, in Belgium? Just the slightest touch, it just spun him off and he beached it in the gravel. Just really unlucky. But Alfa Romeo need to get back in the points, man, because everyone's catching up. The 2 or 3 teams behind, getting the odd point here and there. Alfa Romeo need to get back in the points. Look at Zhou Guan Yu's last 5 results: DNF 14, 16, 13, 14. They had a great start to the season, but it's fading away quick for Alfa Romeo. They need to get back on it. Is this a weekend that they do it? 5th is McLaren. on 95 points. They're now 20 points behind Alpine after Alpine had a great Belgian Grand Prix and McLaren had an awful Belgian Grand Prix. It's just, I said it a couple of months ago that I feel like Alpine are the stronger outfit, and I feel like it's a stronger driver lineup as well. Ocon, Alonso is just it's just a stronger lineup than Norris, Ricciardo at the moment. Because Alpine have got two drivers that are getting the most out of it. And as Christian Horner used to say about Red Bull, we're running one-legged, and McLaren are running one-legged at the moment. Look at Lando Norris's season. Look at all the top tens there. Before the Belgian Grand Prix, he was 3 7th places in a row. Look at Britain to Hungary for Lando Norris, 6th and then 3 7th. He's getting the most out of that McLaren. But when you've got a teammate who's pulling 13th places out of the bag regularly, 15th places out of the bag, you're going to struggle against a team where both of their drivers are getting consistently in the points. So yeah, McLaren languishing in 5th now. A little bit worrying. But they'll have a good lineup next year. Norris, Piastri, when all that's sorted out. Obviously there's a court case and it's not a simple scenario, but more than likely it'll be Norris, Piastri, and I reckon that's a young, dynamic. It's a strong lineup that for 2023. But yeah, McLaren fading away a little bit because this team have come on strong. Alpine in 4th place. And what a season they're having. What a season Alpine are having. This has got to be above expectation, I would say, at this point now. 4th constructors, 115 points. And look at the results. Look at the consistency of Fernando Alonso there. There was this thing about, Alonso's not having a good season a few months ago. He's like struggling and spinning off and all that. But look at the results of Fernando Alonso since Spain. He's virtually scored, he has scored points in every single race since Spain. You know what I mean? It's not bad going that. And Esteban Ocon, one of the drivers of the season as well, I say it every week, he's probably the most underrated driver on the grid. And look at that, apart from the DNF of the British Grand Prix, look at the results. They're just constantly. This is the thing with Alpine, the consistency with it. The being in that top 10, and that's what's got him 4th place in constructors at the moment, 8th and 9th in the championship as well. Fernando Alonso on 51 points. He's catching Esteban as well. Fernando's had a few great results. He should have got more in Canada after starting on the front row. Should Fernando? He clutched the 5th place at the Belgian Grand Prix last weekend. Maybe it could have been more. Maybe he had a little bit of damage. Maybe he could have even been higher than 5th. But yeah, it's a good outfit this, and it's a big seat. It's a big seat that is still not filled for 2023, and there'll be a few drivers looking at this seat because Fernando Alonso is moving to Aston Martin at the end of the year. For what reason? I do not know. Probably because they offered him a longer contract, but still, it's a weird one on me. Race weekend, yes, Oscar. The 2nd of 3 in a row. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're enjoying. We're nearly done with this little preview. Practice starts in 5 minutes. So we'll get that up and running. We're just on to the last 3 teams. But yeah, Mercedes obviously got the most out of it. They've not had a phenomenal season by their standards, but they've got the absolute most out of the car. Unfortunately, Lewis, this side is Lewis. Unfortunately, Lewis with that collision, it was his fault. He shouldn't be aiming for the apex with the car on the inside. It was his fault, the contact at the Belgian Grand Prix. And he'd be looking to get back on that horse and take the fight to Max Verstappen this weekend, Can anybody take the fight to Max this weekend? I hope Mercedes have got a lot better pace than they had in Belgium. Mercedes were like 1.8 seconds off in quali last weekend. So they'll be hoping that the track suits them more this weekend in Zandvoort, and I think it will. And they'll be on it. And the thing is, 8 races to go. Lewis, with this record of winning a race in every single season he's competed, he's only got 8 more chances. Time's starting to run out if he wants to get that win. But yeah, they've had a great season considering what they've had. You know, especially George Russell turning up new at the team, and he's been fantastic. You know, arguably one of the drivers of the season. Yes, Denver, how are we doing, bro? How are we doing? Just doing a little bit of a preview and then straight into FP1 in a couple of minutes' time. But yeah, Mercedes got the absolute most of it. To be third in constructors, I think they're only like 30-40 points behind Ferrari. With the car that they've had, is they've done an absolute stellar job. But can they beat Max? This is it, you know. To win a race this season might be a tough call, especially with how strong Red Bull are looking. But yeah, Ferrari are second in constructors, and it's been a bit of a disaster class from Ferrari. You know, in a lot of the races in the first half of the season, they've had the fastest car, they've not taken advantage of it. Now Red Bull are pulling away. Max Verstappen on a different level, and Max and Red Bull have taken the championship away from Ferrari now. Max leading the championship by like 93 points or something. And Ferrari, it's just been a mess. It's been a mess, whether it's through reliability, through driver error, through strategy error, or all three at the same time. Ferrari have put this championship in the bin. They started so well. Look at Leclerc's first 3 races, first, second, first. After those first 3 races, I was thinking, this is Ferrari's year. This is Leclerc's year. This is it. And then since then, he's had 1 podium. You know, I was reading before, which was a shocking statistic, that Leclerc's only had 1 podium in the last 9 races. Unbelievable. And that was his win in Austria. That's his win in Austria. 1 podium in the last 9 races, and you've got the fastest car underneath you. It's just a category of errors from Ferrari this year. And how Mattia Binotto is still in charge of that team, I do not know. They should never have got rid of Maurizio Arrivabene. They should never have got rid of Arrivabene. He had serious personality and authority, Arrivabene. They sack him for finishing second years ago. You know what I mean? They take a second right now. That's the best they're good for at the minute. But yeah, they've been left for dead by Red Bull. We're just seeing the track practice just about to get underway. But yeah, last team then, last but not least, is Red Bull Racing. 475 points in the constructors. We're just looking at these new gravel traps as well in Zandvoort. It's a weird concept, this. Well, it's different. No, it's not necessarily weird. It's this weird gravel they've got where it's like stuck down, like abrasive. It's weird. It's the first time I've ever seen a gravel trap like that in my life. But yeah, innovative, new idea. Let's see if it works. I suppose it's like a gravel trap, but the stones are glued down, so if you go through it, you ain't bringing a load of debris onto the circuit. I think that's the idea. But yeah, Red Bull. A look at Verstappen, 9 race wins in 14 races. You're walking away with the championship, 284 points. And second place in the championship now, Sergio Perez on 191. I mean, do the maths. It's like, 96 point lead or something. It's crazy. So it is Verstappen's championship to lose, unfortunately. We've not really got that championship battle this year. But there's a lot of subplots to look out for as we head into the last 8 races. But yeah, practice is about to get underway. Let's change to this screen and get the live timings on. Change that. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the preview show. Please do drop me a like if you have enjoyed the preview there. Just a little rundown team to team. We don't need this music on, and then we can get the live timings on as well. Yeah, I don't need that music on anymore. Right, let's see if these live timings work. And get these on. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on out on circuit. Well, at trackside, because no one's out on circuit yet. Practice just about to get underway. Any minute now. We're looking at Lewis Hamilton in the garage. Let's launch these live timings and pray. Let me go back on the screen. Do I think Lewis will... oh yeah, I'm good, Denver, by the way. Yes, I am doing all right there, my lad. F1's back, and I am buzzing. So, yeah, FP1's up and about. Right, let me get the also the countdown timer as well. Let me set this up. So we'll see. We'll see who's got the pace in FP1. Hopefully someone can put the gauntlet down to Red Bull this weekend, because they didn't last week. Right, 59. Okay. Right, there we go. So the countdown timer's on for practice. Let's get these live timings up if it wants to work. Right, let's have a go. And apparently they're going to try with DRS open as well round the final corner, which seems a bit risky to me. Oh yeah, Verstappen got a national award yesterday. Yeah, Max got a big award yesterday. I seen him with a medal. I was like, what's going on here? Flipping Lord Max or something. He's been fully honoured. Right, I might have to refresh that. Yeah, and they're just pointing out like he's 24 and he's getting like... It took Lewis 7 championships and a full career to get honoured by... But look at the amount of... I mean, if you're going to the Dutch Grand Prix and you're not a Verstappen fan, you're done out here, because that's all that it is Verstappen fans. Replay on board with Mick Schumacher then. Oh, and straight into this weird gravel trap then. Yeah, you don't be going across there, really. Oh, yeah, it's weird. Right, we'll have another go at launching these live timings. But yeah, 56 minutes to go. Ricardo purple in sector 2. It's never easy getting these timings to work. It's always been temperamental. Always have to end up refreshing it 4 times and like restarting everything. But hopefully it should work now. Norris goes quickest then. Everyone's come out on the hard tyres and just to get a feel for it. No one really pushing. You've got Alonso on the mediums, odd one out. But yeah, do I think Lewis will win a race this season? I think not on pure pace. I think he will win a race this season, but he'll be due to an unusual situation. So will he go out and be quickest in practice, quickest, pole position and dominate a race? No. But might there be like a weird scenario, like a wet Japanese Grand Prix where Verstappen crashes out or something unusual and Lewis comes in clutch? Yeah, I think that's a scenario. But yeah, the live timings are finally on. 6.5 minutes into the session, but yeah, should be all right now. But yeah, I think Lewis will win a race. But it might take an unusual circumstance for that to happen. The circuit looking nice. In fact, this is the only circuit on the calendar that I've actually driven round. Um, so it's the only circuit I've got actual experience at, not in a video game, in real life. So yeah, it's a nice circuit, but look at the. Tell you what, we're on round 15, and Aston Martin still with these huge aero rakes on the car, as if they're in pre-season testing. In fact, you don't really see them a lot anymore. Those massive aero rakes, especially. I mean, you might see it in round one or two of the season. These great big metal structures sticking out the car. You might see them in the first couple of rounds, but it's. I mean, round 15, and you've got the aero rakes out. I can't see really. Maybe that's for 2023. Look, even the floor of all the hospitality is all in orange. Wow. If all of the cars crash, what if Lewis wins? If all of the cars crash, no, he'd probably need one or two to crash. Yeah, he'd probably need a Verstappen DNF. Let's face it, everyone needs a Verstappen DNF this season. But yeah, he'd probably need a Verstappen DNF. Um, and sort of a mixed conditions, just a crazy race basically. I think for Lewis to win one, I think if he wins one outright, like he turns up this weekend and like beats Verstappen to pole and then holds him off for the whole race, I would be surprised if he wins a race just because Mercedes are quicker and the. Do you know what I mean? I'd be surprised if that was a scenario. Now, I was hoping for that during summer break. I was hoping for that. I was hoping that we get 9 races now. This is during summer break. I was hoping we come back, we get 9 races where 6 cars are fighting for the win every week. But looking at the Belgian Grand Prix, obviously it suited the car, it suited the Red Bull perfectly in Belgium, and things just worked out perfectly for Red Bull, but they've just started to pull away from the pack now. We'll see what happens this weekend. But yeah, my dream of 6 cars fighting for every win this season is fading away fast now. It's fading away. How we doing, SHT? Welcome to the stream, mate. So the reason why Leclerc lost... Was it speeding in the pit lane? Why Leclerc lost place to Alonso? Yeah, was it speeding in the pit lane when they were coming in to change his tyres at the end to go for fastest lap? There's some shambles like that. If it's not that, then tell me why, because it's a comedy of errors from Ferrari. Replay on board with Kevin Magnussen then. Ooh, straight across that gravel as well. Same gravel that his teammate went over 5-10 minutes back. I mean, is this the future of gravel traps? This weird... Oh, Verstappen stopped out on circuit. Hey, yo. Gearbox broken. Max Verstappen stopped. Hey, I tell you what. it's been going too smooth for too long, hasn't it? And this brings me on to something that I completely forgot. My predictions. These are my predictions. I totally forgot to do this part of the preview show. But with Max Verstappen breaking down out on circuit, it is now the prime opportunity to show that I do not have Max Verstappen finishing this race at all. Because he's had it too smooth for too long. And in Formula 1, things ebb and flow. I'm going to Charles Leclerc win, Fernando Alonso P2 and Hamilton P3 this weekend. But yeah, back to the practice. And just when you think Formula 1 starts to get predictable, it just might throw something up. And yeah, Verstappen already, virtual safety cars out. The Dutch fans if Hamilton wins this weekend. Hey, Oscar, the Dutch fans if anyone else other than Max wins. Never mind just Lewis, but like, if Checo wins, it's awkward, isn't it? You know what I mean? Oh yeah, we've just seen a replay with Max Verstappen a gearbox. Just, well, he's saying it's gearbox. I can't tell just from the noise, but oh wow, and Williams nearly crashes into him for good measure. But yeah, Max Verstappen's out of this practice session. Gearbox has gone, supposedly. But yeah, just when you think things are going very smoothly and it's getting so predictable that Max is going to win. Sorry if it's laggy. I feel like it's laggy. Red flag then. So the session is red flagged. Apologies if the stream is if the camera's a little bit laggy. I apologise for that. But yeah, Verstappen stranded out on circuit at the minute. As the fans look on. But yeah, Oscar, anyone other than Verstappen wins this weekend, it is an awkward scenario. Look at that. He needs the marshals to no handbrake. He needs to pull the handbrake. He ain't got one. I think once everyone's back in the pits, the marshals will come out and help him out. He don't want to get out because he knows the car's going to roll back down the hill. But yeah, replay with Verstappen then. So he goes into turn one. Seems fine. Oh yeah, no, it's on the downshift into turn one. It sounds grim. Oh yeah, no. Game over. So yeah, session's been red flagged. Everyone coming back into the pits and then they'll recover Verstappen's Red Bull. Did type it in chat the last time, but I think you didn't see it. Oh yeah, these because the pit lane thing, yeah. Tell me Red Bull reliability is going to ruin his home Grand Prix weekend. Well, it might be about the only thing that can ruin his Grand Prix weekend. Reliability. Because if you're coming from 14th and still winning, and there ain't many out on track that can beat you, is there? But yeah, I think they'll maybe it was an old gearbox, you know, like they're saying they use in practice. They use the old engines, the old gearbox maybe, and I assume for qualifying they'll put all the new stuff in it, and he'd be all right. But it's not ideal though to miss out on track time. You know, he'd probably miss out on the rest of this session now. Not ideal to miss a full practice session. I predict Alonso top 5 again as my bold prediction. I've got Alonso P2. Yeah. I mean, Alonso top 5 is not even that bold, you know. Alonso top 5 is like, yeah, he probably will be. You know, Alpine are looking really strong this second half of the season, and Fernando as well. So, you know, Alonso top 5 is Yeah, not even that ball. I've gone Alonso P2. You know that's getting more into the bold territory. Yeah, I've gone Leclerc, Alonso, Hamilton podium. Obviously, I'm going for a Red Bull demise this weekend. You've had it too smooth for too long. So time for a change. Welcome in, Farhan. Welcome to the stream. Sky just on an ad break at the minute, so not a lot to talk about with a red flag and an ad break, but welcome in, Farhan. Didn't know about how Alpine will be in this track against McLaren. I don't, but Alonso and Ocon are on it at the moment. You know, if they're constantly finishing top 7, top 8, you know, McLaren. I mean, albeit, you know, the Spa didn't suit that McLaren as well, so it made it even worse. But I think Alpine are nailed on for P4 now in Constructors. They're pulling away from McLaren. They've rocked up in the last 3 races and gone, you know, they've overtaken McLaren and now pulling away. I can't for the life of me understand why Fernando's leaving that. You know, Aston Martin must be promising Alonso the world, saying, you know, we'll give you a 3-year contract. And he's jumped ship. But yeah, for anyone new to the stream, Verstappen has stopped out on circuit with a gearbox issue. Gearbox cutting out on the downshift into turn 1. 15 minutes into FP1, not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. He'll miss FP1, but I'm sure he'll be back up to pace in FP2 with a new gearbox in it, new parts in the car, and he'll be all right. Please put a map. Oh, like a live map. No, I've got live timings. Mate. Well, Aston Martin did make progress. Might not be that bad of a move. I mean, they must be promising him a lot for 2023, Aston Martin. They must have said, listen, we're putting all the focus and all the money into next year's car. They must have promised him something wild there. Because I wouldn't be leaving Alpine right now. I mean, what a seat that is. What a vacancy that is at Alpine. You know, it's virtually a Renault Works team. You know, they're not short of budget or anything. You know, Alpine are a good outfit. And who's going to get that seat? Will they go back to Daniel Ricciardo? Or will they... I think they'll go Pierre Gasly. I think they'll go and they'll put the money down to AlphaTauri and they'll say, listen... all in on Pierre Gasly. I want them to do that. I'd love to see that. I think it makes a bigger statement if Alpine go for Pierre Gasly. Why are we seeing this replay on board of Mick Schumacher leaving the pit lane? Oh, so he might be in trouble? Is that what that's about? Did Mick send the Haas out under a red flag or something? Did Haas send Mick, or did Mick send Haas out? Did Haas send Mick out under a red flag or something? There's some kind of bit of a grey area, that. Actually, I'm fascinated that Aston Martin is now in the mix of 7th constructors. It looks so terrible. Yeah, Aston Martin, they are progressing, yeah. They are progressing. You know, Vettel with his P8 in last weekend. They're getting the odd point here and there. You know, Stroll is right on the edge of it, like I was going through the results before. Stroll is like P11, P12, P10. He can get the odd point. Vettel driving well. Feel like he's got more to give. Should he be retiring, really? You know, he's got more to do in his life. You know, he's not just Formula One, is he, Sebastian Vettel? He's got a lot more to do. So he's dropped it, but he's still got more to give as Sebastian Vettel. Welcome to the stream, Laura. Lewis Hamilton might as well retire because he can't even bother trying to get up to the top 10. No, I think he can be bothered to get into the top 10. No, I disagree with that. I think he can be bothered. I think he's still as motivated as he ever has been, Lewis Hamilton. And he'll be wanting to come back strong next season. He won't be thinking about retirement. He'll be thinking about, let's take the fight to Max, take the fight to Red Bull in 2023. They'll already be focused on 2023. I mean, not that they're going to throw away these last 8 races, because Lewis would love to win one and be in the fight. Not that they're going to throw it away, but they'll be fully on 2023 Mercedes and coming back. So whether they'll change the concept, I think that's a big point, is will Mercedes change the design philosophy that they've gone for here? Because it's very different, and different isn't always beneficial. Maybe they're better following the crowd on this one and going to a Red Bull sort of design, or do they go all in and do they stick with this no side pod thing and they go all in on it? And if they come out with a 2023 car that still looks like this, it's a bit of a gamble, I feel. Did they ditch this idea and go down the Red Bull route? That's the thing. Lewis needs to retire from Formula 1 and give someone else a chance because he's useless. No, I don't think he's useless. I think you might be going a bit overboard there. He's still got it, as Lewis. 37 years old, but he has still got it. Don't worry about that. Welcome to the stream, Ryan Tune. Welcome in, mate. Battle for 7th in Drivers' Championship will be close. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, Norris 76, Ocon 64, Alonso 51. It will. Ocon's really catching Norris now. I'd probably back Ocon to finish 7th in the championship. Yeah, and beat Norris. But yeah, so Verstappen out of FP1 then, and we're back to green flags. People are out and about. Back on circuit. We're on board with Lewis Hamilton. Round that. Yeah, there is a bump on the exit that really banked. Let me have a look there. I think they've changed all the curbs this year as well. Yeah, I'm sure there's wider flat curbs. And then obviously they've got this new gravel as well, which might be the future of gravel traps. And then they're using DRS in the final corner as well, which is probably the first time they've been able to use DRS in a corner since it was the F-Duck days in like 2011, 2010. Oh no, so Lewis choosing not to use DRS. So Lewis isn't using DRS around the final corner then. 15th he goes. Now with Alonso moving ahead of Bottas in the standings. Yeah, Alfa Romeo have really dropped off, man. The first half of the season, Bottas was strong. Bottas was getting top 6, top 7. And it's really dropped off. I don't think they've scored a point in the last 6 or 7 races, Alfa Romeo. So no wonder they're being overtaken. I think there was like 4th in constructors at one point. Down to 6th, they may end up 7th. But yeah, but the thing is, SHT, these are the subplots that we've got to look at now. With Verstappen walking away with the championship, we've got to start looking at, right, Norris v Ocon for P7 in the championship, or like these are the subplots that we got to look at now for the last 8 races, really. Probably one of the bigger ones is Alpine versus McLaren. How's that going to play out? Probably, can Mercedes win a race? It's a nice subplot. Can Leclerc beat Perez in the championship to P2? You can start looking at subplots now because Verstappen's absolutely running away with it. Obviously, he's not got off to the best start this weekend, and I'm predicting a bit of a change of the guard this weekend. Actually, it's been going a bit too smooth for too long for Max, and I'm going for the Leclerc win this weekend just because it's about time Ferrari get their act together. And it's just too predictable, isn't it? It's just too predictable for Max to win this, so you got to go against the grain. You know, it's fascinating. Alonso only scored 2 points in the first 5 races. Yeah, exactly. And Q and Spain's over the limit. Yeah, but since Spain, I think Alonso's been in the top 10 every single race. You know, scoring points every single weekend, and that's what's brought Alpine this fourth in constructors. It's just the consistency of both drivers, rather than McLaren with the one driver and one that's really struggling. If you are new to the channel, guys, please do drop me a like. It obviously helps out the channel. This is the first season that I've done this. And I really appreciate any kind of support and interaction I get. Get in the live chat if you want, you know, get in the discussion. Obviously, practice is not a hell of a lot of exciting things going on. Science purple in the middle sector, you know, if that's what you want to cheer about. But yeah, not a hell of a lot going on. But please do drop me a like and subscribe if you're a Formula 1 fan. I'm live every single qualifying, every single race as well. So obviously that's when we get the full commentary head on. And we go full Murray Walker mode when the race, you know, on lap 1, we're full Murray Walker mode. Science does go quickest, by the way. 1 minute 12.8, a little bit quicker than Lando Norris. 84 thousandths of a second in it. And we're already nearly halfway through FP1 now. 33 minutes to go. We have had a red flag for Max Verstappen gearbox issue. He stopped out on circuit after 15 minutes. They've recovered the car now. But I doubt he'll be out in this session, but he'll be back on it in FP2 anyway. It took 5, what's this? He took 5 places grid penalty in Spain. From then till now, Alonso scored 49 out of 51 points. Yeah, exactly. This is what I mean, SHT. Are you an Alonso fan, are you? Because I tell you what, I tell you something, I used to be a big Alonso fan back in the day. These days, I'm pretty much neutral, although Mick Schumacher is my boy. You know, Mick Schumacher's my driver, but on the whole, I'm neutral. Like, I don't mind if Verstappen wins, Hamilton wins, Leclerc wins, Perez. I'm neutral when it comes to those guys. I would love it if Mick stepped it up. Don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I'm pretty much neutral. But back in the day, when Fernando was in his prime at Ferrari, I was a bit of an Alonso fan. Oh, yeah. He used to be unbelievable in that Ferrari. Back in the days when Vettel was winning the championships, Alonso ran him close. Alonso ran him close a couple of times back in them days. Yeah, huge Alonso fans started watching F1 since 2008. Oh, he'd already won his championships by then. 2008 was back at Renault. But yeah, I started watching. In fact, you could argue that it was Alonso that got me into this, because I started watching in 2006, and it was Alonso who was like the giant killer. You know, they were taking Ferrari on because obviously Schumacher was coming off the back of his massive dominance. And I think what grabbed the headlines is there was this young kid, must have been 22 at the time, Fernando Alonso, beating Michael Schumacher. And I think that's what got me tuned in on it. And then since 2007, I haven't missed a single race. So it was kind of Alonso that got me in. So yeah, I was a big Alonso fan back in the day, but these days, you know, we're neutral. But yeah, we are on board with Fernando Alonso at the minute. Helmet camera as well. You're seeing this helmet camera being used more and more, actually. It's becoming more common, this. But yeah, we've got Sainz from Norris, Ricciardo, Alonso fourth at the minute, Perez, Mick Schumacher up there in P6, but albeit 1.3 seconds off the pace. Alonso crosses the line, there's a second off, so it's not a personal best lap for Fernando Alonso. And we're halfway through the session. Apologies if I feel like the camera's like laggy. Apologies if the camera is laggy, guys. See what I can do. Hopefully we'll be smooth as butter for FP2 later on. I will be live for practice 2 as well, 5 minutes before the session starts. So UK time, be live at 5 to 3, I think, for that, starting at 3 p.m. Alonso extract that 2012 Ferrari. Oh, he did, mate. Unbelievable back then when he SHT. Unbelievable. He used to start races in P4 and lead into turn 1, stuff like that on the regular. Unbelievable. Almost 3 points to 7 that car as well. Yeah. Do you know what? There's a stat out there. You're probably aware of this SHT because you're a bigger fan, right? There's a stat that says, because obviously, you know, Alonso's got 2 championships, right? There's a stat that says, had Alonso scored 5 more points in his career in the right seasons, 5 more points would have got him another 3 championships. So in other words, I think he lost in 2007 by a point. I think he lost in 2010 by, I don't know, a couple of points, and lost in 2012 by a couple of points. You know, so just that little, you know, a point here and a point there, and he'd have won another 3 championships. Just shows you how close he came. How close he came. But we've got both there. Back to the live session. Let's fast forward a decade and go back to 2022. And yeah, we've got both Haas in the top 8 now. We've got Sainz quickest ahead of the 2 McLarens. I mean, it's very early days, but I would say McLaren looking a bit stronger than they were in Spa. I think I'm confident enough to say that. And yeah, we're seeing Sergio Perez. I don't know if he's going a bit slow. I don't know if he's just warming up. Albon goes P7 after a great race in the Belgian Grand Prix for Alexander Albon. You know, clutching that P10. Oh, big lock up for Sergio Perez. Replay on board with Kevin Magnussen going down to turn 1, then overtaking a Mercedes on the inside, and yeah, he's not happy with that. Yeah, he wanted Lewis to duck out of the way there. On board Charles Leclerc then. Yeah, so Lewis has caused a bit of a nightmare there. He's held up he's got in the way of 2 drivers there into turn 1. Yeah, he's just, Lewis just minding his own business, not really. Yeah, that's a bit of a careless one from Lewis. But it's only practice, so I don't think he'll get in too much trouble for that. But if he did that in qualifying, you're getting a slap on the wrist. But yeah, I would say early signs, McLaren are looking a lot stronger than they were in Belgium, which is not difficult because they were really struggling. Exactly, SHT. He could have, should have, would have 5 championships. Yeah. But it is what it is. Alright, new front wing end plate for Williams is still bringing upgrades in round 15. Williams. Okay. But yeah, I think that's the headline so far is, you know, well, there's 2 headlines so far in FP1. Verstappen breaking down with a gearbox issue 15 minutes into the session. Obviously not ideal. And then McLaren looking a lot stronger than they were in Belgium. We see Perez going, wow, it's nearly at the wall there, Sergio Perez. What is going on? You've seen a massive lock up into turn 3. And running really wide there, almost brushing the barrier. Bouncing over the grass, Sergio Perez. Bit of a strange one, that. He'll be diving back into the pits after that excursion. But he's lucky not to stuff it in the wall there. Really close call. "2007 he lost the chance." I mean, we're on. Hey, you and me, SHT. We're on a full Fernando Alonso chat, aren't we, this morning? I mean, if anything, it should be Verstappen chat this weekend, shouldn't it? You know, it's his home race. He's leading the championship by 93 points, or whatever it is. But we're in a full of Fernando Alonso mode. Welcome in, Spa. Spa 4 EK. Welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy it. I mean, when it's practice, we just have a bit of a chat, really. You know, there's not a hell of a lot to commentate on. I mean, just like on Sky, you know, they're just having a chat amongst themselves as well. But when we get to qualifying tomorrow and the race on Sunday, it's a different game. We're in full commentary mode. But for now, we just have a bit of a chat. We're on Alonso chat today, Spa. Yeah, 2007 he lost the championship due to his crashing wet Fuji. Oh my god. The thing is, though, if you include one if, you've got to include every if. You know what I mean? And then you're getting into dodgy territory. But yeah, the Vitaly Petrov in Abu Dhabi, yeah. I mean, that was... yeah, that ruined it. I'm not going to lie. Did you hear reports from his F2 Championship leader, Felipe Drugovich? Essentially reserve role Aston Martin. Well, I can't lie and say that I'm an avid Formula 2 watcher, because I'm not. I'll just watch every now and then. But Felipe Drugovich is doing very well. I was hoping that it would be Teo Porcher this year, or however you say his name. You know, I might be absolutely slaughtering the pronunciation of his name. But I was hoping that, you know, he seems like the next kid to me. This I don't know if you say Theo or Teo Porcher. He seems like the next kid to me. The next sort of exciting talent, you know, after Piastri. But I think he's had a few mistakes and a few reliability issues, has Teo. So, could be Felipe Drugovich to win the championship. Is he Brazilian? Or is he Dutch? I can't remember. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised about that SHT if he gets a reserve driver role. Not a hell of a lot of seats going at the minute. Other than, you know, you've got Alpine. Then you've got who's going to get the second Williams seat is a big conversation. Latifi obviously not set the world on fire, has he? So he'd be under pressure. And there's not a lot else going, really, in Formula 1. I mean, is Yuki Tsunoda under pressure? I think they'd be keen to keep him for another year, to be honest. Give Yuki Tsunoda one more try. With Zhou Guan Yu, I think that's a matter of time before he gets confirmed. So I feel like that's done. Aston Martin are done. And you just got that big C at Alpine and the Williams. That might be about it. The thing about Haas as well. You know, are Haas really going to drop Mick Schumacher? And put who in? You know, put Daniel in? I think it's a bit of a risk-taking, Daniel. I mean, you can look at Daniel's career to date and look at his stats, you know, in his Red Bull days, and it's a no-brainer. But you look at him in the last 2 years and you think, would you really take on Danny Rick? You know, especially if you're Alpine. Do you go back to Danny Rick? I don't know if you do. In fact, I wouldn't. You know, if I was in the... You know, if I'm Otmar Safnauer, am I taking Daniel Ricciardo? No. You know, you'd have to have ultimate faith in him. You'd have to think, right, we're the team that's going to get him out of this rut. We've worked with him before. We trust it. But it's still a gamble. I'd still go for Pierre. If they can buy Pierre out of AlphaTauri contract, do it. That's what I'd say anyway. Good morning, Guzman from Jamaica. Welcome to the stream. 20 minutes to go in FP1. But welcome in. Heard that Giovinazzi has emerged as a potential candidate for Haas. I don't know about that. Would you swap Schumacher for Giovinazzi? It feels like a sideways move. I mean, I'm a big Schumacher fan, so, you know, but looking at it from an unbiased point of view, Mick hasn't been phenomenal, but to go from Mick to Antonio Giovinazzi, I don't know about that. You know, did Giovinazzi set the world on fire? No. He led the Singapore Grand Prix once. I remember that. But that was, you know, because everyone had pitted or whatever, and it was just funny at the time that he led the race for a lap. But you know, if you think of like Antonio Giovinazzi's F1 career, right? How many years did he have? What, from 17 to 21, something like that. 18 to 2000. He had a good 3 or 4, 5 years. What's the highlight? I mean, it sounds so harsh, but it's just an also ran, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's the worst thing to be in Formula One, isn't also ran. It's anonymous. It's the worst thing as a driver. I would rather cause havoc and be a Pastor Maldonado and cause havoc rather than just be an also ran. You know, if I was a driver, I'd be out there getting the elbows out. Yeah, having a few crashes, but having a few standout performances. I feel like that's the way to just go ultra aggressive and see what happens. But if you just consistently finishing P16 and you finish every race, yeah, you don't cost the team a lot of money. And you bring home the car in one piece and you get a P16 after P15. But then you game over, innit, after 2 years. No, Giovinazzi, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You've got to have a bit of magic about you. Cheers, Chris. Yeah, cheers, Chris. Please do drop me a like, guys. Obviously, it's the first season I'm doing this, and we've got to get the channel off the ground, don't we? You know, let's get the channel off the ground, guys, because we're live every single quali and every single race. And that's when we do get real. That's when we go full Murray Walker mode. So join me for the proper sessions this weekend and onwards. And hopefully we can bring an alternative perspective to it. That's the idea anyway. But yeah, cheers, Chris. Honestly, won't be surprised if Haas is risky. What, to take Giovinazzi? Yeah, it's a sideways step, that. I think if they go Ricciardo, but then again, would Ricciardo go to Haas is the thing, because I feel like Daniel Ricciardo might look at it and think Alpine or nothing. I'm not necessarily saying that that's what's going to happen, but I feel like Daniel might look at it like that. Alpine or nothing. Alpine, well, when I say nothing, I mean a different category. I mean going over to IndyCar or NASCAR or World Endurance Championship or something else. You know, there's life outside Formula One. There's careers outside Formula One. You know, look at Marcus Ericsson, Indy 500 champion. So there's life beyond Formula One. I feel like if Daniel doesn't get that Alpine seat, he'd probably move on. He maybe go to Haas. Maybe something to think about, because Haas aren't tragic, are they? You know, they're a solid midfield team this season. I don't know. Maybe. Is there any chance Max gets top 3 in practice 1? No, because he's not in practice 1. Unless I've missed something. I don't think Verstappen. Because if you don't know, it's DGTJ, like a tongue twister, is DTJ. Verstappen broke down with a gearbox issue in the first 15 minutes of the session. So, as far as I know, he's out. And I don't think you get a new gearbox in and sort everything out in 40 minutes. Well, half an hour by the time they get the car back. So, no, Verstappen's out of the session. But he'll be back fighting strong in FP2, and he'll probably put everyone to the sword in FP2. But it's still, with 15 minutes to go, Sainz, Norris, Russell into the top 3. 2 tenths off the pace. Not bad. but it's a shorter track. They ain't going to be 2 seconds off the pace round here. Short little track. Mark Smith, welcome to the stream, mate. Is Alonso so keen on racing for a couple more years that he'd rather drop down to much less competitive? This is the thing, Mark. He must have been so keen on being offered a 2-3 year contract that it doesn't really matter who he's driving for. I don't get it. Maybe Alpine were only going to offer Alonso the year, whereas he's talked with Lawrence Stroll and they've obviously offered him 2 or 3 years, and he's gone, I'll do it. He's gone, shake my hand. So he's about longevity then. Fernando Alonso's obviously looking at this, at being in Formula One for another 3 years. He could be in his mid-40s before he retires, which is unusual, to say the least. It's like going back to like the 1950s, isn't it? You're like into your mid-40s and still racing in Formula One. Oh my God, it's DTJ, £100 in practice one. Oh my God. I mean, I never bet on Formula One, me, because it can seem predictable at times, Formula One, but mate, I would never put money on the line because anything can happen. You can literally get a puncture on the final lap and stuff like that. Oh no, mate, I couldn't do it. The stress of having money on it, no chance. I'd be praying it along every lap. But please don't break down. Please don't get a puncture. Please get the strategy right. Please get the pit stop right. Oh, it's too many factors. it's too many factors to be putting 50p on anybody. Tell you now. Alpine doing well, getting another year, not backing himself. This is it, Mark. Did he not back himself? Did Aston Martin promise in the world? Did Aston Martin turn around and say, listen, look at the plans for 2023, look here, and they're showing him some rocket ship? I do not know why he's left Alpine, because what a seat that is to leave. What a seat that is to leave, isn't it, Mark? SHG says, Haas with Ricciardo and Gunter making the drama Drive to Survive. It would. Yeah, it would. It would. This is sure. And not been able to fix the gearbox. They haven't. Yeah, 100 quid. Maybe he's broke. I don't think he's broke. Fernando Alonso would be absolutely balling. He'd be absolutely made for life, Fernando Alonso. He's got other businesses outside Formula One as well. I'm sure he's got like a cycling team and he's got a go-karting company and all the rest of it. He'll be doing all right, Fernando Alonso. He won't be worried. He won't have financial worries, I wouldn't have thought. Arya, welcome in, Arya. Good move on the Night King a couple of years ago. Tell you whatever. Great move. I think Ricciardo is going to retire if he doesn't get the Alpine seat. From Formula One, maybe. Yeah, if you can call it retiring. I think if he doesn't get the Alpine seat, he'd probably look elsewhere. He'd probably look at maybe tearing it up in IndyCar. Maybe he could go to IndyCar and show him who's boss sort of thing, and be the big, be the big fish in IndyCar or in NASCAR. Well, NASCAR is probably a bit of a long shot. It's very different, NASCAR. Probably a bit of a long shot. But yeah, maybe he'll look elsewhere if he doesn't get the Alpine seat. Oh, they're talking about this now as well. They're actually talking about exactly the same thing on Sky right now. I think he should. I think he should go to Haas as well. Jensen's just saying he should go. Yeah, I think Daniel should go to Haas. But I don't know if he's got that. You see, you've got to have that mentality to be in Formula One at all costs. Like, no matter how I'm in Formula One, some drivers will have that mentality. Doesn't matter the team, I've got to be in Formula One. Whereas other drivers will have the mentality, well, if I'm not in a winning car or a car that's competitive, I'll go and win in another series. So I don't know. I get the idea. I get the impression that Daniel's in a scenario where he's in the mindset of, if I'm not in a competitive car, I want to look elsewhere. But we'll see. Um, if Aston Martin is good, I always want Alonso to stay with him. I think he will. I think he will be there to the end of 24. I think Fernando will be at Aston Martin for do 3 years. Yeah, do well at least 23, 24. Yeah, at least 2 years. Yeah, Russell quickest. He is. Yeah, Russell has gone quickest with 10 minutes to go, and Hamilton makes it a Mercedes 1-2. Well, they're certainly looking more competitive than they did in Belgium. That's for sure. 1.8 seconds off the pace they were in Belgium. But 1 and 2 in practice one. Oh, is that Lewis again blocking someone? I tell you what, Lewis has had a couple of dodgy moments in FP1. I don't think I'd see an F1 driver age 40 and above still quick and great. They do start to drop off when you hit 40. I mean, even the great Michael Schumacher, when he came back, he wasn't the same. Kimi Raikkonen, you could argue, sort of faded away at the end, sort of thing, last season. But yeah, Fernando's still got it. He's still got it. Alpine probably only wanted to offer him a 1 year deal, looking at his age. I think, is he 41 now? He's either 40 or 41. And they probably just wanted to offer him a 1 year contract. And Fernando spoke to Aston Martin. They probably said, we do 2-3 years. Big money. And they probably told, they probably showed him that all the focus is on next year's car, looking at big improvements, and sold him the dream. So he's going for it. Madness. Yeah, so we do at least 2 years in SHT, yeah? Maybe that's what he was looking for. But anyway, back to, we've only got 8 minutes to go in FP1, and it's Russell from Hamilton. Sainz P3, and Norris Ricciardo, the two McLarens looking a lot stronger than they were last weekend. Leclerc P6, then Perez and the two Alpines 8th and 9th. At the minute, you've got Albon in the top 10. Mick Schumacher P11. Go on, Mick. The Aston Martin's fastest laps are on the medium tyres, so they've not really fully shown the hand yet, Aston Martin, with 7 minutes to go. I mean, has anyone fully shown the hand, really? It's only FP1. But yeah, Mercedes certainly a lot more positive for Mercedes and McLaren. Early signs are that it's a lot more positive for those two teams than it was in Belgium. Okay. So Alonso's struggling with team radio, and that's might be where Nick De Vries in the Mercedes garage. I think is De Vries the test/reserve driver? I feel like he's missed his chance, De Vries. I feel like if De Vries is going to be a Formula One driver, I feel like it should have happened 3 years ago. It's a shame. Yes, Mark Vettel went there first too, so they must have been good at selling the project. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, they must be good at selling the project and giving out big contracts as well, big money contracts. And from Aston Martin's point of view, I think they want a world championship, a world champion driver. They want that big signing. I don't think they'd be happy with just like a kind of a Stroll, let's say like a Stroll Giovinazzi lineup, or like a, you know what I mean? They want that big name, don't they? From Aston Martin's point of view, it's good for PR, I suppose. Like if from a business standpoint, it's good to have Fernando Alonso in your team, I suppose, in a way. No, not to mention that he's still one of the fastest on the grid as well. So it's not just purely about name. He's still got it. But yeah, from their point of view, they want the world champion driver. From Fernando's point of view, he wants that extra longevity in his career. He wants to do another 2-3 years. Fair play, we go for it, but it's strange considering Alpine are so strong. Fair play if like Alpine were really struggling this season, you go, oh yeah, go for it. But the fact that the fact that Alpine are so strong and Alonso's still jumping ship, and the fact that Alpine are so strong and Piastri's jumped ship, it's weird. It's weird. But yeah, 5 minutes to go in FP1. And it's Russell from Hamilton. I wouldn't have predicted that. But yeah, it is early days. Perez a second off the pace. I don't know why. He was struggling before. He even nearly hit the wall as well, did Perez. I think that's the reason. Yeah. But mad that Piastri put him in the dirt though. That's crazy. I mean, they were saying on Sky last week that Alpine or the Renault Driver Academy had put 10 million at least into Piastri's junior career, and then at the point when they want to put Piastri in the seat, like they've raised it's like they've raised him from a cub. Do you know what I mean? They've raised him, backed his junior career, giving him test time in Formula One, giving him like test days and this, that, and the other. And then at the moment when they're going to promote into the big time, he ditches them and goes to McLaren. It's just, I mean, the thing is, I don't think we've heard the end of that. With Piastri, I think Otmar Safnauer and Alpine are going to fight that. And if he does go to McLaren, Piastri, I think there might be some sort of money involved there. I feel like it might cost McLaren a bit of money. I get the impression that Piastri signed something in November and he's fully ditched his agreement, which could cost someone a lot of money. But we'll see what happens on that one. But yeah, 3 minutes to go. And it's looking positive for Mercedes. Like I was saying, it's my dream this season. What I want from these last 8 races is 6 cars fighting for the win, And I think we've got more chance of that this week than we did last week, put it that way. Mercedes were nowhere last week. Well, in the race, Russell was actually decent, to be fair, Russell was decent, but in qualifying, over one lap, Mercedes were nowhere. Red Bull absolutely smashed everyone. Verstappen walked it. But this weekend, it's looking a little bit more competitive. That is the conclusion you can draw from FP1. It's looking a lot closer than it did last week. So, thank God for that. I mean, even if you're a massive Max Verstappen fan, I mean, come on. The victories mean more if there's competition, surely. But yeah. I don't mind Max winning, but please, someone put up a fight this week. Alonso's aiming to go for a record 400 starts. Wow. Yeah, no one's got 400. How many did Kimi have? 350-ish or something. Kimi and Rubens Barrichello did a fair few as well. But yeah, no one's done 400. Lewis could end up 400 if Lewis, but I don't know how much. I think Lewis will do. It depends on next year for Lewis. I think it depends on next year for Lewis. If he's fighting for the championship next year, he'll probably carry on. But if he's in a similar position next year as he is now, he might close the door on it at that point and go, do you know what? I've had a run. Yeah, I've had a good run. He's only 3. Wow, he's only 3. So he'll be, by the end of this season, Alonso will have the most race starts of anyone. Wow. Yeah. And even that was with taking a couple of years out as well. Mind you, Kimi took a couple of years out. Be your home track in Singapore. Are you going to it? I'd say it'd be a hell of an event to go to. Have you been to the Singapore Grand Prix before? Are you going to it? SHT. This There's not been the Singapore Grand Prix for a couple of years, has there? Was it? Don't think it was last year, was there? I feel like there hasn't been a Singapore Grand Prix since 2019. I might be wrong, but Japan as well. I feel like there hasn't been a Japanese Grand Prix since 2019 either. I don't know. I might be tripping on that. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I feel like that's the case. But yeah, get yourself down. I bet them tickets are expensive though. Singapore Grand Prix. Cost a fortune, surely. But anyway, that's the end of FP1. The checker flag's out. Everyone's just completing their final laps. And Mercedes 1-2 in FP1 is the headline, with Verstappen out with a gearbox issue. And both McLarens in the top 5. Ahead of the Alpines, who 8th and 9th. Hiya Barry, how are we doing, Barry? I think Fernando has 0% interest in record stats. I agree, actually. I agree with that. You don't risk your life for the record most F1 starts. That's true. No, he's interested in racing at the highest level. Yeah, he's not. He won't be looking at the stats that come with it. Most race starts and most points in your Formula 1 career and all that. He wants to race and win, Fernando. So yeah, I do agree with that. Hiya Lee, how are you doing? I'm good, Lee. You just joined me right at the end of the session. And it's a Mercedes 1-2 in FP1. 1 minute 12.455 was the fastest time in the session. George Russell on the soft tyre goes quickest. Wow. Who had that one on a bet slip? Not many. Right. But yeah, that is about it, guys, for FP1. If you have enjoyed the stream, please do drop me a like, because obviously, we're in the first season of doing this and we need to get the channel off the ground, up and running. So please do drop me a like if you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe if you're a Formula 1 fan. I'm live for every single qualifying, every single race. I'm also live for FP2 this afternoon in a couple of hours. So join me for that. What are we on? 12:30? I think that starts 3 p.m. UK time. So I'll be live at 10 to 3 for FP2. But until then, guys, it's been a pleasure having you all in. And yeah, join me for FP2 and for the rest of the weekend, where we get to qualifying, we get to real stuff tomorrow afternoon. I'll be live for that as well, and the race. But cheers, guys, and peace out. See you for FP2. But headline is Verstappen gearbox issue, Mercedes 1-2, and both McLarens in the top 5. See you for FP2, guys. Peace out.